Kanishka, thank you for being here today.
Thank you so much for having me.
We know you were in the audience at the mayor's address. We want to get your response to a lot of what she said. But first, you lead a very passionate group of San Francisco residents. Tell us about Together SF and what your goal is.
Together SF is a civic engagement community building organization. Our mission is to create more San Francisco voters who are engaged, informed, and empowered to hold their leaders accountable to better results. We are the largest network of San Franciscans who are super engaged, and we're about 27,000 people in San Francisco who either volunteer or come to learn more about what's happening in the city.
Yeah, and I know you got together because of a lot of frustration, a lot of what you're seeing, things that you see where you live that need to be fixed. And a big focus of Breed's speech was about public safety. She laid out a plan to make San Francisco safer and to clean it up. She said she's introducing a $25 million budget supplemental to fund overtime and to build up the police force. Let's quickly listen to some of what she said and get your feedback.
But we must solve it locally. To do it, we will expand recruitment strategies and work to retain officers. We will give them the resources they need. Yes, we must hold officers accountable, but we must also respect the hard work they do every day and respect them.
Okay, so Kanishka, do you think what she said, her plan that she laid out for police and public safety, will address the lawlessness in the city?
I think her saying these things goes a long way. The public and the police officers need to hear that the city's executive leader is behind them and supports them. The supplemental will also help because it adds more police time on the books, which is what we need in sort of our hotspot areas, the Tenderloin, the Mission, Union Square, and various other neighborhoods throughout the city. But the biggest thing is that we need a sustained increase in police staffing. We're short about 600 police officers. We're expecting that number to continue to increase in the summer as we see more retirements on the horizon. And we share a national problem, which is the challenge with attracting people to work at SFPD, to work in law enforcement. And that really can only be addressed by improving police morale. And so we would love as an organization to see more elected leaders join the mayor in this message to tell SFPD, to tell people we want to support law enforcement. Yes, there must be a balance with reform and accountability, but we need you to show up and do the important work you do in our communities in keeping us safe.
Right. And we also heard from Mayor Breed about a plan for homelessness. It's a big problem here in San Francisco, saying we are treating this like a crisis. She's launching a 5-year strategic plan. Here's some of that part of the speech.
It will set clear goals for our departments and nonprofit partners, which we will demand that they meet. We will work to complete our plan to add new mental health beds, and we will work with the state to add even more. We will push forward our overdose prevention plan, working with Supervisors Dorsey and Ronan to continue bringing overdose deaths down in our city.
You see, I see, we see the issues with homelessness every day on our streets. Your thoughts on her plan?
Many mayors have announced plans to end homelessness in San Francisco. None have been successful. It is such a huge, huge problem. But this is the first time I think we've heard a mayor talk about the nonprofit and department accountability as a key component of the plan. And so we're very hopeful that that does turn things around. We know it cannot be just continuously an endless stream of money that's going to solve this problem. We also need accountability. We need a balance of a variety of different options. So it sounds like that's the direction this plan is going to go. I have yet to see it, so I can't opine on the specific details of it. And then the other part she mentioned in that clip was the overdose prevention plan, which I think is great that we're talking about the intersection between the drug crisis and homelessness. For a long time, there's been a hesitation to talk about these two things as being related. But with the increase in fentanyl, the opioid epidemic, we are seeing more and more homelessness related to, unfortunately, drug addiction.
Yeah, and a lot of this does impact, the visitors, the people that live in the city, revitalizing downtown. She talked about that, trying to get businesses and people back downtown. What were your thoughts when she mentioned some of what she plans to do, like the tax breaks?
Yeah, well, first, it was really great to hear her talk about the connection of public safety as a key component in downtown's recovery. I get the sense that for the past few months, what we've heard about downtown recovery is simply like CEOs get your workers back to work, demand people be back in the office, and not really wanting to acknowledge that people don't feel safe or welcome to come downtown. And so it's not an attractive proposition. So addressing the public safety component has to be first before we can get people downtown. And so we're glad to hear that. The rest of it about the taxes, I think that is also an important component, right? The tax reductions and tax breaks to bring in new businesses and keep some people here. We're going to have to do that because, as we know, San Francisco is not actually in a bubble, even though it feels that way, and businesses can go elsewhere to open and operate, especially to our neighboring cities that offer lower taxes and more public safety amenities. So we're glad to see that both of those pieces are going to be addressed in this downtown recovery. It will all come down to how it gets delivered.
Right. Thank you so much, Kanishka, for your time today. I have so many other questions that I'd love to ask you. We talked earlier about getting the supervisors on board and so many other things that I know you wish she would have addressed in that speech. But we'll touch base once again, and we'll have you back on this show. Again, thank you for the work you're doing with Together SF. All right, coming up after the break, talking